guys, it's Julia. Welcome back to my channel. Today I want to show you how you can make some simple bags to sell online, like the ones here. Each one takes about 10 minutes once you get all your fabric cut, or if you're printing your own fabric using sublimation. There are literally so many different variations you can do for this bag. If you do print your own fabric, the possibilities are endless because you can put any design you want on these, including adding photos or monograms for customers. So let's get started. Now you can make these bags any size and with practically any material, but for this video I'm using two outer fabric pieces that are 9 inches long and 6 inches high. You also need two lining pieces that are 9 inches long and 6 inches high. You'll need a 20 centimeter sized zipper, or 8 inches. It's a number 3 nylon coil closed zipper. Now I used a beige color zipper, but you can also use any color zipper you want to match your design. And if you want a cute charm for the zipper pull, I put that link in the description. Like here you'll see I have one shaped like a cat paw. Now I use a 95% polyester heavy linen for my outer fabric because I print my fabric using sublimation. And just a tip, if you are printing your own fabric using sublimation, add 1/4 inch to the dimensions you see here. A high polyester content fabric will shrink under a heat press for the first time. Now you assemble the bag by putting one of the lining pieces right side up, then take the zipper and line the top edge with the top edge of your lining fabric. Then take one of your outer fabric pieces and place that right side down on top of the zipper, making sure all edges line up, and then pin in place. Now you want to sew these together, where I show here. You want to start sewing below where the zipper pull is. We'll go back and sew that in a moment. I'm not using a zipper foot on my machine because I don't need one for this bag. I do a 1/4 inch seam allowance with a stitch length of 3. Now here is how you finish the seam. You want to unzip the zipper about halfway down the bag, then finish your seam to match the one you started. Now we do the other side of the bag. So just like before, lay down your lining fabric right side up. Now place the zipper on top of the lining fabric right side up. Now take your outer fabric and lay the right side down onto the zipper. Sew along the edge exactly like you did with the first side. Now you want to sew a top stitch to make the fabric around the zipper look finished. I use a 1/8 inch seam allowance for this. Now we're ready to sew the entire bag together. You don't want to forget this important step. Make sure your zipper is at least halfway or 3/4 of the way open. Now clip the outer fabric right sides together and the right sides of the lining fabric together and match the seams the best you can where the zipper is. Now you want to leave an opening in the lining before you sew it together. This is so you can turn the bag right side out after sewing. I usually leave a fist width for the opening. That should be wide enough. Now you want to start sewing where I'm pointing here on one end of the opening in the lining, and then all the way around, stopping at the other end of the opening in the lining. I use 3/8 inch seam allowance all the way around. Before I turn the bag right side out, I trim the corners and sometimes use pinking shears to get rid of some of the bulk. Now let's see what the bag looks like. This is why it was important to open the zipper at least halfway before sewing. Make sure you press out the corners as good as you can. Now it's time to sew the lining opening closed. I use my sewing machine to close the opening, but you can also do this by hand. Now the bag is complete. Super cute. You can stop here, or you can add an extra step of sewing a gusset so it can stand on its own. You want to turn the bag inside out and make sure the corners are not bunched up. You won't need any extra fabric for this. You'll be making the gusset corners on the existing fabric. You'll want to measure about 1 inch from the corner of the lining seam at the bottom, like I'm doing here. Then make a straight line across. You'll want to do this for both sides. Sew across the dotted lines you just drew for both corner ends. This is what it'll look like. Now turn the bag right side out again. Now the bag will stand on its own, and you change the type of bag with that one simple step. And there you go, one template, 2 different bags. Want to change it up a little bit? This time, all you're doing is changing the outer fabric into 2 different fabrics. Everything else stays the same. You want to use 2 pieces of 9 inches long by 4.5 inches tall of one fabric and 2 pieces of a different fabric, like the black canvas duck I have here, which is 9 inches long by 2.5 inches tall. Pin the smaller fabric pieces to the larger ones right sides together. Make sure you are attaching the smaller fabric to the bottom of the larger fabric if you have a pattern like mine. Then sew with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. There, now you can sew this bag like you did the other one. For the wrist straps, you can make them from scratch or buy them off Amazon. I have the links for everything in the description, but feel free to explore all your options. There are so many different choices. Thank you guys for joining me for another tutorial. I hope you like this one. See you next Tuesday. Bye for now.